Hey guys, so I was progging Extreme Valtan on my stream last night, and while I was doing that, a couple people had asked me, hey, can you make a guide on Extreme Valtan? And while I don't think that a full guide on Extreme Valtan is really the best use of anybody's time, I think that it would be worth it to make kind of a quick and easy guide on what are the biggest differences between normal/hard Valtan and Extreme Valtan, and what you really need to do to clear it. Now, for this video, I'm going to be going in with the assumption that you have already cleared regular Valtan before and know the mechanics. If you don't, I would recommend watching another person's guide on just regular Valtan and how to do that. I'll link some in the description below. But yes, this is going to be assuming that you already have done Valtan before and you're just trying to learn what the biggest differences are and what you need to know for Extreme Valtan. By the end of this video, the goal is that if you've done Valtan before, all you need to do is watch this video and you will be able to clear Extreme Valtan. Now, there are guides on Hell Academy that are going to be very useful as well. They're pretty much the same thing, Hell Valtan and Extreme Valtan, but the thing is, Extreme Valtan is just a little bit easier because you have your own gear, so you're not going to get one shot a lot of the times by the mechanics. Basically, Extreme Valtan is just like easier Hell Valtan. So if you want to just watch the Hell Academy stuff, look at the Hell Academy stuff, feel free to do that. I'm going to link their document down below. So before we even jump into the fight, you're going to want to assign people at different positions. 2 people at 11 o'clock, 2 people at 1 o'clock, 2 people at 7 o'clock, and 2 people at 5 o'clock. Now, if you have a gun lancer, that gun lancer will be in the center rather than being at one of the numbers, and then one person will be alone. And how you want to assign these positions is based off of move speed. You want the 2 people with the similar move speed to stand together. And I'll explain a little bit why, in a little bit why this is important, but that's what you want to do at the moment. Now, hopping into the fight, you're going to start the fight with Valtan spawning. And when he spawns, he's going to do a spin. After he does a spin, puddles will appear under your feet, then you will dodge that by moving away, and then head towards the 3 o'clock position. And this is where, of course, where you want Valtan to slam into. This is just like normal Valtan. You're going to have him slam into the wall, throw your destructions, and break his first armor. Now, remember when we assign positions? Well, this is where the first place that comes into play. So the people who are assigned the 5 o'clock position, 4 o'clock position, you want those people to grab these first 2 blue orbs. And then everybody is going to go towards 1 o'clock right now, because you want Valtan to spin and jump towards the 1 o'clock tower with the blue orbs, and then he's going to spin and he's going to break those. Now the people who are assigned to 1 o'clock position from earlier are going to grab these orbs. As you see, I was assigned 1 o'clock, so I'm going to grab this orb along with the Sork FNA in my party. So one thing you need to be careful about here, though, is Valtan's going to be here, and some people are going to be tempted to go back attack and accidentally potentially grab somebody else's orb. You don't want to do that. And then after that, as Valtan's doing his 3 swings, you're going to throw Thyrane out. And here is one of the most important things to remember. If you are a support in the party at this point, or somebody with a cleanse, you might not be a support with a cleanse, right? It might be the gun lancer who's cleansing. The person who is cleansing needs to cleanse right here. After he does his 3 swings, which he will always do after breaking the 11 o'clock tower if you're going in the correct order, right? He will do 3 swings and then do this big circular swing. When that happens, everybody will get a debuff on them that makes them extremely slow. So it's the job of the support or the gun lancer, whoever is cleansing, to cleanse that debuff so everybody can move at normal move speed again. As you can see, the paladin on my party put the shield on us to cleanse that debuff, and we were able to move at normal move speed again. And then now you're going to go to your assigned positions that you assigned early at the beginning. As you can see on the minimap, everybody is at their numbered spots. So FNA and I are both spec classes, that's why we're standing here together. And for this part, you're going to want to move in this pattern that I'm going to show on the screen. And that is why you want to assign people with similar move speeds, because you don't want to be hit by these axes falling down. This is where the majority of people get jailed. They call it axe jail for a reason, because people can't coordinate, they don't know how to move along. This is going to take some time, so don't be frustrated if you have to restart and wipe here a couple of times. Heck, the most experienced players still get jailed in this section today. So now that we've gone over the route, I wanted to rewind it back just a little bit to the beginning of this, because something important really happened, right? These axes are falling down on us, they're targeting both FNA and I, and then the axes stop falling, right? And then we head out this way. Why do we do that? Well, it's because a bunch of axes are about to hit the outside edge where normally it would be the safe spot. So you see right there, all the axes just landed. We stood outside of it because we didn't want to get hit by it. After they land, then you want to spacebar in so you don't get hit by the AoE of Valtan. So after you do that, everybody is going to go towards 9 o'clock and have Valtan charged at the 9 o'clock position, just like normal Valtan. And then when he crashes into that, those people who are assigned to the 7 o'clock position will grab those orbs. And then you're going to throw your destructions as per usual. Valtan armor is going to break. Then you're going to go back into your positions from earlier. So right now, FNA and I are heading back to the 11 o'clock or the 1 o'clock position, and then we're running the same exact route as before. And we're going to go out and then come back in. Now, the next important mechanic is going to be when he drops the 4 stone pillars and somebody gets a pizza on them, right? So in this situation, my character is going to get the pizza put on them. So the job of the person with the pizza pointing towards them is to take the pizza and break one of the pillars. As you can see right now, I'm aiming it at one of these pillars, and everybody is going to be at a different pillar where this AoE is going to hit it, right? The reason why we do this is because if we don't break the pillar, the Valtan will have a massive increase in the amount of damage that he does to us. So it's very important that you break one of these pillars as the person with the pizza on you. So as you can see, I break it, I dodge away. Now, this next part is going to be very similar, but what you want to do is, of course, stand where that pillar is broken, and then kite this until Valtan shoots out and swings out his axe. And this part is where we get into the difference. Normally, Valtan will stop here and just go back into his normal patterns. But in Extreme Valtan, he will swing his axe one more time and target somebody. Ideally, what you guys want to do is, of course, before this, the entire party was stacked up on each other, right? As you can see behind him, that's where my entire party was stacked. Then I head towards and join up with the rest of my party. And ideally, in this situation, it didn't really happen, but we stay in this spot together until he turns, because he will target another player with his swing and do a third swing. Unfortunately, we didn't do that with this party, but that is what you're supposed to do. That way you can kind of control where he swings next. And yes, there is a chance that even though you were targeted with the first 2 swings here, that he can target you again with the same swing. So that's why it's important for you to go to the back and meet up with the rest of your team. That way it doesn't swing unpredictably. The next big mechanic that is different is going to be, of course, the 3-second counter. Now, same with normal Valtan, and it's even more important here in Extreme Valtan. You want to stack everybody up at the same spot, right, away from him. Not right in front of him, away from him. Because in normal/hard Valtan, it's called a 3-second counter because you count to 3 and then counter them right after, right? You can technically do something similar to that with Extreme Valtan, but it's just very risky because the counter window is much smaller for this mechanic in Extreme Valtan. So what you want to do is, of course, again, everybody stack them in one spot. Puddles are going to appear under your feet. Then you're going to head towards the wall. If you're on the left side, it's going to be to the left. If you're on the right side, you're going to head to the right. But you're going to head towards the wall and then wait for the text to pop up. So as you can see right here in a couple seconds, the text right here, Demon Beast Commander Valtan is preparing a powerful attack. Stop Valtan with your counterattack. That will pop up on the screen. After that happens, if you're on the left side of the map. So meaning the stage is broken already on the right side, the left side is available like it is right now. You want everybody to head north. So head up, because Valtan is about to charge at you and you want to be able to counter him after he charges at you. So you can see right here, everybody moves north, and then he comes down, charging, hits the wall, and as he spins, you're gonna hit him with the counter, like right, just like that. Now, when you're on the right-hand side of the map, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be flipped. So you're gonna head towards the wall again, of course. He's gonna pop up the letters on the bottom of the screen. And then when he does that, instead of going north, you're gonna go south, because Valtan actually turns a different direction based on which direction you guys are on. Again, if you're on the left-hand side, you're gonna go north so you can counter him. And if you're on the right-hand side, you're gonna go south and then counter him again. Just like this. Bam, hit the counter and perfect. Now, the interesting thing about this mechanic is that you can actually counter him the entire way through. It doesn't have to be before he turns for the full 180. If you miss the counter, you can still hit the counter after he turns the full 180, which I will show right here. As you can see on the screen, we're gonna run south, right? But we missed the counter and he did the full turn. But as you can see, he's still blue. So you can still counter him during that phase and he'll be hit with the counterattack. So those are all the biggest differences in the mechanics for this fight. There aren't a ton of them, but they all add up to make the fight more difficult. But on top of these mechanics, there are also normal attacks that are different as well. And these are the ones that I think are the most important to highlight. The first of them being something like that I called Cardinals. This is when Valtan goes in for a big spin like this, right? He starts spinning, and then you as the party members need to go to a cardinal position, either north, south, east, or west. Because when he does the spinning, you will get puddles under your feet. And if you don't do that, if you don't go to these cardinal positions, the puddles will be everywhere on the map. So you as a player will go to one of these cardinal positions to keep it concentrated in one area. As you can see, in this specific scenario, we all went north. Now, in an actual fight, you might not always be going to all north because some people might be south of the boss, some people might be west, east. Go to the closest cardinal position to your character and stand there until the puddles spawn. And if you get hit by his axe, at least the hilt of the axe, you will be slowed with vertigo, much like before when he did his 3 swings into the spin, where your paladin or your support needed to cleanse you. So don't get hit by the hilt of his axe either. Just make sure to avoid the spin, head to Cardinals, and avoid getting any of your party members killed. And then there's Axe Rain. For this, Valtan will jump up into the sky and rain down axes upon everybody. What you want to do as a member of the party is head outward towards the outside of the arena at the moment you see him flying up. Then everybody will head towards the center of the screen, avoiding the axes, but also meeting up the center. That way you can control where Valtan jumps down into, and then you can jump into the safe spot. Now, as you can see, there's a ton of puddles on the ground as well. So you need to be wary and aware of where those puddles are and try to avoid getting hit by them. Now, this isn't hell, so it's not going to kill you if you get hit by one, so don't worry too much about it, but ideally you do want to avoid getting hit by the puddles to not take damage. Now, there's DPS to Stagger. This is the exact same as regular Valtan, but the damage check that you have is significantly larger, so I would recommend throwing a Dark Grenade during this part. And then there's 5 counters, and this, as the name implies, means that you have to counter Valtan 5 times. So it's important to assign people to these 5 counters. Who's going to do the first one? Who's going to do the second one? Who's going to do the third one? Who's going to do the fourth one? And the 5th one, you ideally have 2 people doing that. So you have one person doing it as the main counter and one person as the backup, because that is the most important counter, as it will completely wipe the entire party if you miss it. So as you can see here, I am going to be counter number 3. So for me, I see this. Everybody moves to one side of the map and lets the person who's countering stay alone on the map. As you can see right here, number 2 is going to be the counter, so everybody else heads north. And after that happens, everybody around number 2 will be silenced. So that's why everybody needs to separate away from the counter, right? The moment that they counter, anybody who is near that person who countered will be silenced. So we just only want that person who gets countered to be silenced. That way we can follow up with follow-up counters. So number 2 has finished their counter. He is heading towards the south of the map, and everybody else is on the north of the map, and the person who is counter is in front of the boss. This is the pattern that you want to go with, because right now orbs will spawn on top of us and spawn damage rings. So if you are stacked near the boss, you will be making the person who's countering have to dodge these rings on top of hitting the counters. So you don't want that. That's why we have this set up right now. Same with the person down south who is just countered as well. Orbs will spawn on top of them as well, which is why they are down south. You can see that second person just finished their counter. Me as a third person, I'm going to head out here and do my third counter. Hit it right there. Then I head south. And you got to be a little bit careful about getting hit by those rings. Now, everybody down here is south. And we grab our orbs and the rings stay here. The fourth person counters, then they will actually go left or right depending on where the Valtan is standing closest to, right? As you can see, the Valtan in this map is standing closest to the right wall, so they are going to head to the left wall, near where you get knocked off. So this person who is countering fourth will counter them and then head towards the left wall. And same thing, they're going to grab the orb that spawns on top of them and then make the AoE spawn. And then the fifth person will go in for their counter along with their backup. And then the moment that happens and finishes, that's the end of the mechanic. And then you can wait a little bit for the rings to stop pulsating, and then you go out and continue your DPS. And then there's Hellfire. So the biggest difference between normal Valtan and extreme Valtan is that there are 2 rounds of Hellfire Orbs that spawn. So as you can see, the orbs are going to spawn in the cardinal directions, and then party 1 is going to be in charge of grabbing the first round of orbs. And how you split the orbs is x3. So number 1 goes to 3, number 2 goes to 6, number 3 goes to 9, number 4 goes to 12. Or you can just assign them. In our case, we just assigned them, so that's why I'm at 9, even though I'm at 1. But party 1 will grab the first round of orbs, and then Valtan in the center is gearing up for a counter. Now, party 2 is in charge of countering this, while party 1 grabs the orb. Now, party 1 has finished grabbing the orb, so party 2 will now go to grab the second round of orbs. As you can see, I grabbed that orb, and party 1 will be in charge of countering the Valtan there. So that is how Hellfire works in Extreme Valtan. It's pretty easy when the stage is not broken, but when the stage is broken, that is a different story. So when Hellfire happens when the stage is broken, the Hellfire Orbs will yet again spawn in the cardinal directions. But as you can see, the cardinal directions are a little bit different because the stage is broken. So if you can see on my screen right now, the orb that is supposed to spawn north is much further down than it normally is, and then the red damage lines overlap with the west orb, and then the west orb's damage lines overlap with the north orb. So it becomes a lot more dangerous to grab these Hellfire Orbs because you're at the risk of getting knocked off. So the strategy for this is to not grab all the orbs. If you have time stop, what you can do is you can time stop the first round of Hellfire Orbs, then grab the second round of Hellfire Orbs and only grab 2 of them, and then get damage reduced. But in my case, in my party, we were running Atropines. So because of that, we did not have time stops. So we grabbed 2 orbs in the first round, and then in the second round, we grabbed 2 more orbs. In the first round, after we got the 2 orbs, the 2 orbs on the north and the east side exploded. So in that case, we had our paladin damage reduce us. Now, in the second round of explosions, that's when the orbs do a lot more damage. So again, damage reduction is completely necessary for this, but ideally, if they could awaken in the second round, that would be the best. And lastly, here are some ghost phase specific attacks that I want to show and talk about. The first one, of course, being the Cardinals again. Now, I did cover Cardinals earlier, but this is a very important Cardinal attack because this always happens the moment he starts Ghost Phase. And you want to, again, go to Cardinals so that you aren't getting hit by it. And then the last attack that I'm going to cover in this video is Grab. Normally, Valtan will grab somebody and then turn around and blow them off the stage, right? He does that here in Extreme Valtan as well, but the indicator comes out a little bit slower and the attack is faster, so you really need to be aware of that attack. And then when he turns around, he can actually readjust himself and place himself facing another player. So really be careful during this part because you might get grabbed or you might get hit by the knockoff blast that happens afterwards because you're expecting him to turn the opposite direction of his grab, which he doesn't exactly do anymore in this version. He will always grab somebody, then face another player instead of just the opposite direction. So those are the patterns, the mechanics, and the attacks that I think are the most important to take note of and the biggest differences between normal and hard Valtan versus extreme Valtan. Everything else is pretty much the same as the regular Valtan fight, just that he hits a little bit harder and he's just a little tankier. So hopefully that helped you guys with learning the fight. Let me know how your prog goes and whether or not you were able to clear with this video. I'd love to learn that. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications. And as always, I stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoXshiro starting at 10 p.m. PST. So hopefully I'll see y'all on my stream, but if not, hopefully I see you guys on the next video. Alright guys, peace out.